Hello, avid movie fans. Do you remember the first time you saw Sylvester Stallone play Rambo? I'm not talking about Rambo Part 3, and I'm not talking about Rambo First Blood Part 2. I'm talking about the original, simply titled First Blood. This film spawned a legacy of Rambo movies for years to come, with action, vengeance, and lots of exploding arrows. The series set a high bar in the action genre, but what a lot of people don't know is that the original film is also a riveting standalone story and a poignant commentary on a Vietnam soldier's homecoming in America. It's a classic worth revisiting, which is what you can do right here on Epix. But since this is a show about special effects, I'm mainly going to talk about the bloody parts and action bits. I'm Erik Beck, and this is FX Reboot. Originally titled merely First Blood, this initial Rambo movie was co-written by actor Sylvester Stallone himself. In the film, recent Vietnam War veteran John Rambo, alone and dealing with some pretty serious post-traumatic stress, starts a one-man war with the town's police force after being unjustly arrested for vagrancy and roughed up in jail. In doing so, the small-town police draw first blood, which is something Rambo takes pretty seriously. As an audience, we side with this unsung hero who only wanted something to eat. A hero who also happens to be one of the most deadly and badass Green Berets on the planet, which makes the whole drawing first blood thing a really bad idea. To keep the character of Rambo likable, it was written so that Rambo never actually kills anyone, except for maybe this guy. But he was a real jerk and probably should have been wearing a seatbelt. Other than that guy, Rambo only wounds people when he absolutely has to. But that turns out to be a lot of people.
What the hell is...
One scene that I've always remembered vividly is a grueling one where Rambo doctors his own wound. Chased into the mountains by police, he suffers a deep gash in his arm after falling from a cliff, then into the branches of a not-so-gentle tree. At this point, he takes his trusty survival knife, removes the fishing line and fishing hook from inside, and then sews up his own arm. Did I mention Rambo's a badass? Yeah, he is. So it's no wonder why this movie moment stuck with me for all these years. Let's take a moment to see how Hollywood created this effect back in the early 80s. One of the most amazing things about this bleeding scar effect is that it simply stands the test of time. Over 20 years later, I can look at this effect and be blown away by its impact and realism. And since they didn't have fancy computer effects back then, you know it was totally real. The basic idea was to create a fake gash that sits on top of the actor's real arm. Below the makeup, a thin tube is carefully hidden and connected to a blood pump concealed in the actor's armpit. When the blood pump is squeezed, a gentle stream of fake blood comes out, and it's that slow trickle that really sells it. This effect was so real looking, in fact, that after shooting the scene, Stallone decided to leave the set with the makeup still on and have some fun with a nearby hospital. He told the staff he had accidentally fallen on an axe, and he started stitching it up himself. He then asked nurses for some aspirin to dull the pain so he could finish the job. And the legend of Rambo's badassery grew. While Stallone's performance may be out of reach, a fake wound, I think I can handle. It turns out creating a believable wound that your actor can sew up on screen is pretty cheap to pull off. The main ingredients are nose putty, liquid latex, Vaseline, red food coloring, and corn syrup. The basic idea is to build up and shape some fake skin that is tough enough to allow you to pull the needle and thread right through. First, roll out some nose putty and build up a small mound where you want your cut to be. Take care to smooth out the edges as best you can. Now, take a plastic knife, Make your incision, then cover the whole area in several layers of liquid latex. Once this dries, your fake wound should be strong enough to sew up. But first, you need to blend it with some makeup and add some juicy bits. Vaseline and red food coloring makes for some great fake gore. For fake blood, add more food coloring to your corn syrup. Now, turn on your camera and just start carefully sewing. If you feel a sharp stabbing pain, it means you've gone too deep. The idea is to look tough without ever having to endure any real pain. There you go.
Hey, get that.
When Rambo gets a paper cut at the office, he takes care of it himself. When you look at the original Rambo footage, you can't help but be in awe of its realism. It's a rock-solid effect because it's not too over the top and has the slow gushing of blood. When you look at our low-budget version, it looks pretty good, but in no way compares to the original. Our scar tissue sticks out too much, and we don't have any flowing blood. We just added some fake blood right before the shoot. Sure, we were able to get the basic point across, but ultimately, our budget version can never compete with the impressive skills of seasoned Hollywood makeup artists. More tragic than that, however, is the sight of my puny arms next to Stallone's. There have been 4 sequels and quite a few other films and TV shows that pay homage to John Rambo. In fact, in the film Son of Rambo, 2 childhood friends and Rambo fans take on trying to remake their own version of First Blood.
I am the son of Rambo!
Of course, hijinks ensue, and in the process they create zero-budget effects that might be better than mine, which is saying a lot. The movie is the ultimate tribute to a classic and a heartwarming film in its own right. And you can watch both Son of Rambo and First Blood right here on Epix.